everyone, what's up? It's Casey Molina here, and this is going to be the first video in my series of controversial topics. Again, I think I'm just going to make this a summer series, but we'll see. I have gotten one really good suggestion for another video that I want to do, but I also wanted to make this video for you guys. So I'm just going to jump right into it. This video is about this year's presidential election. Now, I have some notes here with me, and I really want my content to be just as candid as possible for you guys, because I feel like, you know, that's how you relate the most to people. And I feel like this was candid. I mean, is that possible if I wrote it down? I don't know. But, you know, I wrote this down, and it really did come from a place of, you know, honesty and just genuity, and I know that, you know, what I'm saying I really mean. But I do just need the help of notes at times, because there's a lot of things to cover. So let's just get right into it. Okay, so a lot of you guys know that this year is the 2016 presidential election, and that's a big deal because this is going to be the first presidential election that the majority of our generation can vote in. The amount of people that can vote right now, it's currently baby boomers that votes the most, so that's the 65 and older age group, and now our age group is equally as much as them, and that is so important, and that just further speaks to how much swing we have in this election if we all just go out and vote. I'm hearing from a lot of my friends and family that they've been feeling really discouraged about voting this year just because of, you know, the potential candidates that we have to vote for. And I know that, you know, each candidate is sometimes has its pros and cons, definitely has its pros and cons. And, you know, it seems like you're going to be choosing between the lesser of two evils when it comes to voting in this election. But it is still so important to go out and vote. Personally, I don't formally consider myself a member of any political party. I believe that sometimes when it comes to the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, I have ideals that mirror both of those. But regardless, I feel like something that has really just been rubbing me the wrong way about this election is Donald Trump and his politics and the support that he's been getting. And I only say this because it would be different if, you know, as Americans we were looking at Trump and realizing that he had so many flaws and that a lot of the things that he was saying were detrimental to minorities and just created a sectarian culture in this country that's just unhealthy. Unhealthy. We're supposed to be the United States, and what he's been doing, the nature of the comments that he's been making, and the way that he's been targeting marginalized groups in America, such as women on abortion rights, talking about how women should be punished, or talking about how he wants to build a wall separating Mexico from the United States. The way that he's talked about Mexicans, saying that there's only some good Mexican immigrants and that most of them are just rapists and criminals. And these are just wrong statements. These are just derogatory statements. These are racist statements that frankly dig up a racist culture in America. And if you want to argue with me, that's fine, but honestly I feel like the support that people have for Trump is just coming from a place of hatred. I can't understand how people would support somebody who makes a comment about women's rights or just talks derogatorily about women and immigrants. And first of all, I want to set the record straight and say that a lot of Mexican immigrants that are coming over are good people who are seeking a good home in the United States. There is rapid rates of unemployment and criminal activity in Mexico, but obviously the criminals aren't the people fleeing Mexico. And if people did their research, I actually looked up the statistic, and the majority of immigrants that come over are actually upstanding people in this country. And the majority of crime being committed is by native-born people in this country. So make sure you just have your facts straight. I know with this election, it's really easy to just listen to the media and listen to what things that they want to put their spin on and what things that, you know, they want people to focus on, and then they want to try and shape how you think about those things. But honestly, as a millennial and as a voter in this election, it is so, so, so important to just do your civic duty and get the facts. Whew. I actually went to his website to, do some background research on, a lot of his policies. One of his policies that I just can't get behind is his policy on gun control. On his website, and it's verbatim from his website, but you should definitely go look it up. It's donaldjtrump.com. He talks about the need for gun owners to take back matters into their own hands and being proactive about getting people off the streets who are going to terrorize communities, and just being proactive about defending yourself and self-defense with guns. And that sounds like a great idea. Everyone wants to be proactive when it comes to keeping themselves safe. But you can't be proactively defending yourself because you can only defend yourself if someone has attacked you. Am I right? So honestly, a lot of what he's saying, again, just leads to racial degradation and stereotyping. And I'm being honest with you guys when I say that our country has a history of stereotyping and racism and segregation. And you just need to keep that in mind when a lot of this stuff is coming up. I know it's really easy and really comfortable to bury the hatchet and, think that Trump isn't being racist or he isn't being derogatory towards women or he isn't touching on, marginalized cultures and marginalized people in this country when he's saying the things that he's saying. It's easy to think that, he's just being honest and that he's being the businessman that he is and, to support him because he's not a politician and our country has a deep distrust of politics and politicians. But it is very important to look at the root of where Trump's statements are coming from and the roots in which they go to. And that just leads back to a history in America that is rich in just marginalization. I have a quote for you guys. A quote by Steve Maraboli says, "You express the truth of your character with the choice of your actions." Let's just think about that for a second. You express the truth of your character with the choice of your actions. When I think about the first time that I heard Trump speak in a campaign, I didn't hear any legislation that he wanted to pass. I didn't hear about any ways that he wanted to better our country. I just heard the fact that he wanted to build a wall to keep immigrants out and make them pay for it. And I know that his power plays are just very enticing to a lot of people who just feel like America has not been run the right way during the Obama presidency, and that people want to make America great again. But you have to realize that hatred and just sectarian comments are not the way to do it. Trump has just displayed so much bigotry in his campaign, and I can probably name on one hand the number of times that I've heard him speak and he said something about actually bettering the United States and said something about how he actually wants to better the lives of people. At my internship, I spent a lot of time during the day looking up videos of, Trump rallies and, conferences that he's gone to and spoken at. And it really has just made me realize that a majority of his campaign has been just targeted at his other candidates and just targeted at the wrong things. I know it's easy to go to, his campaign website and look at legislation, but honestly, it's not very cohesive legislation, even when you go and read it in print. And I just want everyone to really take a closer look. I know people, a lot of people, are not supporting Trump in this election, but again, it really is as if you're choosing between the lesser of two evils, and I know it may be discouraging for people, and you may feel like you don't want to go out and vote, but honestly, you have to. You don't have to, but you should. And I think that you can look at, who are the possible people that would be representing our country. And there's one person whose campaign has just been rooted in all of the wrong things. And I personally can't imagine what people would think of America and what people would think of our democracy and the so-said freedoms and rights that we have as Americans to express ourselves and be a boiling pot of people, if we have the leader of our country making comments like this about different races of people and different genders of people and just not being accepting and not being respectful of them. I hope that this gave you something to think about. If you guys want me to make a longer video, I wrote out basically what felt like a whole script about things that I wanted to talk about in the Trump campaign. I have issues that, I wanted to talk about. But if you liked this video, then please comment and let me know. I have another video coming out pretty soon that I'm really excited for. I don't know, it's going to be fun, but I really like this segment that I'm going to start doing for the summer. And again, I really just hope I gave you guys something to think about. So that's all I have to say. This is Casey Molina, over and out.